What's going on, what's happening? Part of my presence YouTube channel. I want to do a review and have a discussion on what's been happening the past week on the Kevin Samuels YouTube channel. He decided to dedicate an entire week to men, and he called it the Men's Week. And he's going to take calls from men where he could discuss with them, the type of challenges that they have in regards to dealing with women, and to kind of find out where they stand as far as a litmus test, as far as, are men holding their weight? Are men high value men? Are they successful? Can they be leaders? And people were looking to see, were expecting to see rather, high value men calling into the show, pretty much displaying their intelligence, pretty much displaying how more versed they are when it comes to dating, pretty much show and prove that they are leaders, they are kings, they are bosses, and that women are the ones who are delusional and they need to get behind us men and fall in line. So it was really perplexing when Monday came and I got to witness some of the calls that were coming in from men. And I have to say, in a nutshell, if you don't want to continue with this video, I'll say it with this line right here, with this sentence right here. Men's Week was trash. And it was trash for a number of reasons that I'll go through with you. The first one being that a lot of men showcased their inability to communicate effectively. What I found was that a lot of men who were calling in couldn't finish a sentence, were not coherent, could not be direct. Now, a lot of times previously when Kevin Samuels was talking to women, a lot of men, a lot of commenters, a lot of people in the chat room were making fun of the women, the fact that they weren't able to answer questions directly. When Kevin asked them their age, they'd say stuff like, oh, I'm 30, but I'm going to be 32 in 2 weeks. Or they'll say stuff like, well, I'm going to be 40 in 3 months and a half. Like stupid, indirect, nonsensical, irrelevant information added into a question that really should have been, I'm 40, I'm 30, I'm 32. Straightforward. We were making, I won't say weeks, not me, but a lot of people in the comments were making fun of women, the fact that they could not answer a question directly. But when the men came on, and of course, with the overall consensus being that men are direct, straightforward beings, they don't deal with indirect comments. They answer things directly. They use a lot less words to communicate than women. When we heard these guys talk, they couldn't answer anything directly. They couldn't even state any disagreements that they had with Kevin. They couldn't lay down a proper argument. It was really bizarre, and I'll be honest, it was borderline pathetic. And part of the reason why I could say all this is the fact that on Wednesday's show, which I didn't even get a chance to watch. Why? Because it was so bad he deleted the show. Up till now, you can't find Wednesday's show. And all the people who did watch the live were saying that it was so bad. The men were argumentative. They couldn't communicate. Kevin lost his cool. It was really a poor showing. A lot of men were looking bad, and there wasn't a representation of men. And this leads to my next issue that I have with Men's Week. That Wednesday show, which has disappeared off of the face on the internet. The Wednesday show, which has been scrubbed off the face of the earth. I was hoping that Kevin Samuels would discuss it on Thursday, or even make any type of reference to it on another day afterwards. He never discussed it at all. He never made reference to it. He never explained why he deleted it. But it's clear to me that he did so to either cover himself, because he doesn't want himself to look like the type of impatient and argumentative person that he could be, like he is with women, or he's trying to shield other men from looking as bad as they did, and he's trying to protect men's image. Now, the problem I have with this is that when it comes to the female image, when it comes to the image of women, whenever they mess up, whenever they become argumentative, whenever they say something that's nonsensical, he does not give them that same type of courtesy. He does not spare them. He makes it a point to say, I'm gonna make you famous. This clip is going on YouTube, or sorry, this clip is going on WorldStar. He makes it known that he's going to use this moment, whether it's the average at best moment, whether it's you can't make this up moment, whether it's the Canada Dry girl moment, no matter what moment it is, if it shows women at their worst, he puts it on display for everyone to see to make his point. And I had no problem with that because that is exactly what happened. You had women go on the show and we're talking around in circles. We're not making proper arguments. We're not able to communicate effectively. And we're saying things that was really nonsensical or one-sided or pretty much outlined the fact that there's a double standard that they enjoy, although they advocate for equality. So I understood that. And he always used to say that he keeps things up there for everyone to see because it's important for people to see the mistakes and how his show, his character, his channel has transformed into the polished show that it is now. So for him to have men who are arguing nonsensically, to have men who are looking like fools, you had one man saying black women are our enemies. You had another man who sounded like he was a woman beater. You had so many different types of weirdos that were calling in that looked bad. So many men that seemed lost, that seemed to not have a clue as to what direction they want to take in life. So many men who weren't up to task. And the sad thing about it is that instead of putting this on display, clipping it up, putting it out there on WorldStar, clipping it up, put on YouTube where we can all get a chuckle from all of this, he did none of that. He shielded these guys, he protected these guys, and he scrubbed the entire evidence of how incompetent these men were. And it makes me wonder, what if he had did that for the women? How about that video where black women could not admit or could not fix their face to smile at black men? That same video where he asked a psychiatrist, I believe, whether black women belong to black men, and she couldn't fix her mouth to say that they do. That same video, right? That same video where one of the women were saying to smile at a black man, it takes too much effort. Why should I have to do it? That video made black women look horrible. But that was a video that never should have aired either. Because I don't believe black women really feel that way. I don't believe black women really feel that they don't belong to their black men. But he put that out there for people to consume. And he broke it up into different segments to exploit those women. And I would have no problem with that if he kept the same smoke for the men too, which is what people were saying all throughout the comments when people were saying that he's treating women unfairly, that he's being horrible to women. This is how he really is. And the men would respond to that by saying, no, he's worse with men. You should hear how he talks to men. Go back to his videos from 3 years ago and how he spoke to men. He's 10 times harder on men. But when it came time to Men's Week to display that, to showcase how hard he could be on men, he shielded them. He protected them. Why? And the fact that he didn't makes Men's Week an entire sham. Because the way how I see it, if you can't show men, whether it's black men or white men, men in general, if he can't show men the fact that the way how we are looking out there, the way how we are communicating out there, the lack of communication skills, the lack of having the experience talking and communicating with women, the lack of confidence, the lack of direction. If we can't show that out there for people to see, if we can't show that, if you look how men are behaving, how they're acting, at least the people who are calling in, if this is a representation of men, then clearly there's a reason why women are in their masculine. There's clearly a reason why women don't want to follow us, because there is nobody capable to be followed. Because in order for you to follow someone has to be a leader. And what I saw throughout Men's Week, I didn't see much leaders whatsoever. And then it dawned on me that this might be the reason why. The men who are calling in are not good representations of the men who are really out there making it happen, moving and shaking, living respectable, productive lives. Maybe the men who we've seen during Men's Week are really just weirdos who are calling in looking for validation. Men who are lost, looking to find their way. They've had bad encounters with women, and as a result, they've gone sour. And then they found the red pill or met the manosphere, and now they found a reason to act the way they act. They found an excuse as to why they're unsuccessful. And they use this to ride women and take jabs at women and ridicule and insult women, and they found their home. And they're calling in to say, hey, I agree with you, you're my hero, you're my idol. Meanwhile, are those men leaders? Are those men the men that women actually want? So I gotta say, if I'm to believe that the men who called in are not good representations of us men, then I equally have to say that the women that have been calling into Kevin Samuels' show for the past year are also not good examples or representations of women who are out there moving, shaking, making it happen, covering for lack of resources, lack of structure in the household, lack of men in the household, fathers in the household. Maybe the callers are not a representation of women. Maybe we shouldn't look at those callers as, you know what, this is how all women act. Maybe we need to stop generalizing. And we only had, what, two shows on YouTube. And then, of course, he does his other things on social media. But the point I'm making here is that Men's Week as a whole, as a concept, was a complete and utter disappointment. And I think it's important for us to say that this should highlight that the men and or the women who call into his show are looking for validation, probably have low self-esteem, probably not the most well-adjusted people in society, not the most productive people in society. And having said that, I think it's time that we realize that this is more entertainment than it is some type of lesson on how society really is. I think it's time that we see this as entertainment and nothing more. You get your laughs, shits, and giggles, and all that good stuff. But I don't think we should look at this and say, see, that's how women are. Or see, that's how men are. Because if we're going to critique this and be critical, then believe me when I say that the men who showed up this week that just passed, even if it's just for 1 week, 2 YouTube shows. The third was removed because it was that bad. So really just 2 episodes, 2 shows. And they already look worse than the women. So again, cut the women some slack. Men, we need to step up. We need to do more. We need to live with purpose. We need to try to get into positions where we become leaders, that we can become providers, because the women come after. What's that saying in that Chris Rock movie? Right? You never lose women chasing money, but you lose a lot of money chasing women. Something along that effect. But the whole meaning of that saying is the fact that the women should not be the goal. relations, sex, all different things. While we all desire being with someone and building a life with someone, understand for men, your goal should be to acquire things, to accomplish things, and to be successful and to be competent. And once we build something for ourselves, once we have a social network, once we have a home that encompasses everything that we are as a man, the woman will look at that and say, there's a place for me to come and fall in line with what the man has provided, what the man has created, what the man has put out there that has given me a space to coexist. And men, if you are not able to do that, then of course, there's nothing to follow. There's nothing to fall in line with. There is nothing for them to submit to. So this was an eye-opener to me. You let me know how you felt about Men's Week. Did you even listen? Did you pay attention? Did you lose respect for Kevin Samuels? I did in some sort of way because I didn't think he was fair. I didn't think he was he was partial, put it that way. And I think that made him look a little bit bad as far as him trying to shield and hide how men truly appeared and showed up on the show for this past week. He should have put out the display to say, you know what, men have work to do and we need to focus on getting ourselves at the table and creating, taking ownership, taking leadership, and doing the right thing. But that's what I have to say about the situation. Let me know how you feel. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until next time, part of my presence. May your next move always be your best move. Peace.